Hi, my name is Nick Allen and I'm president of the VCU HEMA Club, and today we're going to be talking about Ochs. Now Ochs is the second in the 4 basic guards of German longsword. What it looks like is the sword is up here. This is it on the right side from the side, right side on the front, left side, and side. Notice how, because I'm right-handed, my right hand is on the top of the sword, and therefore when I do Ochs on the right side, my arms are crossed. This is going to be an important distinction. If you're left-handed, your left hand is going to be on the top of the sword, and your arms are going to be uncrossed. A really important aspect of this is that my thumb is going to be on the shield. And this is done whether or not I'm on the right side or the left side. And this is just because this thumb right here allows me a whole lot better control of where my tip is, and it lets me know what's happening. If somebody hits that blade, I have a better feel of where is my sword going, and it's a better way to be able to control it. So this thumb right here is just more sensory information. This guard is great for defending against high attacks and also for threatening the opponent in the face with the tip of your sword. We've just covered Vomtag in the previous video. This is one of the primary defenses against it. As a Vomtag would be a downward cut, you can block it with Ochs. Now then, there are 3 transfers for Ochs just as there are for Vomtag. These are the Middelhau, a thrust, and the Unterhau. The Middelhau is you start here, the point comes behind you as you step, and your arms unwind into Ochs on the other side. If we're going from left to right, your arms wind, the tip goes behind your head, and it comes right here. Let's look at it from the side. So if we're on the right side, my arms are crossed, I uncross them as I step, the tip goes behind my head. I used to think of it as a helicopter, and then it ends up here. If we're going from left to right, we step, the arms cross, and we end up here. I have a lot of people have problems with this at the beginning, so something that I find helps, take your right hand and actually plant it on your head, and then just don't take it off as you go around. Just kind of use that as a pivot point for the sword, and that helps to get the muscle memory down. Bum to bum. The second one is a thrust. You're here. And this is great for being able to threaten their face with the point of your sword and to be able to lunge out and actually thrust them. The way that you transfer with a thrust is you thrust out as you step, because this is where you're most vulnerable in the stepping process, so you threaten them actively with your sword. You turn the sword so that your thumb is then again on the bottom, and then you bring it back in. If you're going from left to right, extend out, turn the sword, and pull it back in. Let's look at it from the side. If you're here on the right side, you thrust out, watch my thumb, it goes towards the ceiling, towards the floor. And notice how as I am turning it, I'm also stepping, because this way, this vulnerable step is covered. When I'm on one leg and extra vulnerable, my opponent is as occupied as I can keep him. And then I turn it, and it comes back in. If I'm going from left to right, it goes out, turn as I step, and comes back in. Cool. The last one is the Unterhau. This is probably the trickiest. Like we've covered in Vomtag, it's a downward cut like this. With Ochs, you're going to be cutting with the same edge, and it's going to look like you step, the tip drops down, the tip comes up. And you're also cutting with the true edge on both sides. If you're going from left to right, the tip comes down, you step, comes up, and turns in. So with Vomtag, you were able to get a nice, clean 45-degree cut. With Ochs, because your wrists are anatomically limited, you're going to be getting kind of like this angle of cut. And that's okay. Don't try to strain your wrists to get the nice cut. Do whatever is most comfortable for you. So this is going to be from right side to left side. Now left side to right side. Now let's look at it from the side. Notice how my thumb is still on that shield. Don't ever take that thumb off. The tip comes behind, drops down behind you as you step. You cut up with the true edge into Ochs on the other side. And then if you're going from left to right, you step, cutting with that true edge into Ochs on the right side. Your arms are then again crossed. So the way that we practice these 3, just as we've done with Vomtag, is we string them all together. You do Middelhau, then thrust, then Unterhau. Again, our studio is kind of small, so I'll be taking baby steps, but if you're going to be doing this on your own, make sure that you're taking big, oblique passing steps, because this way you're able to effectively train what it'll be like. So here's what it looks like. Let's start on the right side. You're going to go Middelhou, Middelhou, thrust, thrust, Unterhou, Unterhou. Moving backwards. Middelhou, Middelhou, thrust, thrust, Unterhou, Unterhou. Let's look at that from the side. So over here, on the right side, my arms are crossed. Middelhou, Middelhou, thrust, thrust, Unterhou, and Unterhou. Going backwards. Middelhou, Middelhou, thrust, thrust, Unterhou, Unterhou. The last thing that I want to talk about is weighting. With Vomtog, your weight was pretty evenly distributed. With Ochs, your knees are a little bit less bent. You're up a bit higher because your sword is concentrated up here. With other guards, your weight might be a bit lower, more forward or more backwards. And we'll talk about that in a later video. That's Ochs. Those are the 3 transfers. Thank you very much for watching. I'll talk to you guys later.